What's going on, sports fans, and welcome back to another episode of Insights from the Locker Room. I'm your host, Derek Dennis, a.k.a. The Bone Crusher, here with my dog, Tyler Johnstone.
A.k.a. Moose, if we're throwing out nicknames.
Yeah, we're throwing nicknames in it now.
Oh, man. My nickname's been Moose for a long time.
It's not better than The Bone. Oh, wait, is that a fine?
Is that not better than The Bone? All right, is that a self-suck? That's a fine.
Self-suck.
So, after last episode, we discussed, in order to get everybody a real insight to our locker room, and more specifically, an insight to the O-line room, we are...
Because we're O-linemen.
Oh, yeah. We are going to be implementing the fine system.
Yes.
So we have 4 fines.
4 fines currently now.
We
for
might
our
add
podcast.
To them. We might add to them. The
Most
first
fine
one
systems have a lot more.
Oh, yeah. A lot more. And they vary from how much you get fined per infraction. So first, we have the self-suck fine. Basically, you're just bragging about yourself.
Yes.
Secondly, we have the off-topic fine.
Off-topic, yes. So when we talk about topics, if you stray too far away from the actual topic, you get a bell.
And then we have under the bus fine. Basically, if you throw another O-lineman or another player under the bus, which is unwarranted.
But
unwarranted.
On this podcast, it probably will happen a lot of times.
Will happen a lot. That's going to be probably one of our main fines.
Fine.
And then the last fine is an embarrassing the O-line fine. That one's the most important because there's a lot of ways you can embarrass the O-line.
Tons of ways. Like if you tell a story, like Tyler did last week, about getting punched in the chin and not doing anything about it as an O-lineman, that is a fucking fine.
Well, sir.
Yes.
We got the fine system working. All
Tyler,
right?
please explain. We gave a little in-depth about each particular fine, but for people who don't know, in O-line rooms and in locker rooms and on teams, like I had in Saskatchewan with O-linemen, we had a very, very defined fine system that my friend Dan Clark made sure that we abided by. And
you always have a commissioner, like a guy that is in charge. He's in charge of the fines, and when there's a dispute, he decides who is right and wrong on the fine.
So whenever Coach thought Dan was in the room taking notes, he was not. He was writing down fines.
Absolutely,
and
it's important. It's an important job.
I did not know how crazy fine systems got till I got to Saskatchewan.
That's crazy.
Dan and Blue, which everybody knows is Brandon Labatt, who's a very great offensive lineman in this league. Dan and Blue held a very high standard, and we had a lot of slap-ass rookies in our room, so they were getting tons of fines.
That's the thing. So rookies are pretty much always find the most because they're trying to figure it out.
Most rookies.
So my rookie season with the Chargers, I was fined at least $1,000 that year.
Ooh.
Those fines. So I mean, you get paid more.
Rookies do get it the worst.
Yeah.
Though.
So you get paid more in the NFL, so you're fined more. But so with Montreal, the fines range anywhere from $5 to like $20, and at the end of the season, so this is the big point. Like everybody's like, well, what's the point of the fine? Well, you have to pay the fine.
Well, our fines were only $1 or $2 in SAS, but they added up to a lot.
Oh yeah, because that's
the biggest fine was breakdown fine.
What's a breakdown fine?
So in SAS, what we like to do is that we had, if you missed the O-line breakdown, that was a fine. So we would always do random breakdowns. As long as you had 3 or 4 veterans in presence, you were allowed to do a breakdown. So most of the time, as long as 3 vet guys or 4 vet guys were around each other, we would just fucking rack up breakdowns and then charge all the rookies $2 for every missed breakdown. So guys would end up missing about 150 to 200 breakdowns. So you do the math.
Yeah. So the biggest fine when I was on the Chargers was embarrassing the O-line, or not embarrassing the O-line. It was it was a self-suck fine, but there was a name for it. It was called Closer to 6. And it's from that Drake song, but the reason it's called Closer to 6 is when Joe Barksdale got there, he signed a big contract, and another O-lineman, Orlando Franklin, goes up to him and says, "Hey man," he's like, "How much you making this year? You're big money. How much you making this year? You must be making what, like 5?" And Joe turns and goes, "Closer to 6." Fine! Oh, that's a self-suck fine. Okay, so that's a fine.
That was a setup all the way. He had no clue.
Absolutely. So, at the end of the year, so all the fines go into a pot. The commissioner holds on to all the money, and then it goes towards something for the O-line room or something like that. So for ours in Montreal,
O-line trip. Something
Yeah,
like
Montreal, we had about $1,800 in fines at the end of the year, and it was all going towards the end of the year dinner for the O-line.
Yeah.
And at this dinner, we spent about $1,100, and then we all agreed on a charity to donate the extra $700 to.
Okay.
So it does some good, if you don't spend it. It does some good.
You guys use your money for a lot better cause. We use our money to party like animals.
Well, first off, if it was up to me, I was on a plane the next morning, so we would have spent the $1,800 if I was ordering.
Of course.
No. So the O-line fines and
we got
the
a
fine
whole party
system
bus.
is and Derek and I have yet to decide the value of each fine on this podcast and what it's going to go to.
Yeah, we're just going to rack up the fines and go from there.
Yeah, it might go to Old Town. We'll see. Old Town.
It probably will go to Old Town. Probably go to a little breakdown of the getting ready to head back to the season. Whenever that happens, whenever they sign a CBA, that's not here or there. But whenever we decide to head back up to our respective team cities in Canada, we will make sure we have a nice little bang as a send-off.
Absolutely. As an inside the locker room season-ending send-off.
Because that's what all locker rooms do, baby.
That's
they have nice end-of-the-year bangs.
That's what happens everywhere it goes. So, Derek, if you guys listened to the last podcast, we were excited. And we talked about a lot of things. There's so many things to talk about.
Got a little lengthy on us.
It got a little lengthy. It was about 2 hours. And so we're going to be a little more organized today.
We're going to be a little more organized
Derek,
today.
Bring us into our first topic. What are we talking about today?
So first topic of this episode, we're going to do... So I like I said before, I was doing question of the days. I cut it down to questions of the week just so that we can have a topic to talk about on insights from the locker room. So my question of the week this week was a little bit of a runoff topic that we talked about last week in terms of CFL 2.0 and the international segment of CFL 2.0. So my question this week that I asked, hold on, I'm a little slow right now with the technical part. I'm trying to pull it up on my Twitter so I can ask questions. All right, here we go. And Brozy said the international part of CFL 2.0 is looking at possibly 30 countries to formulate a bridge between them and the CFL, the Canadian game, in a sense, whether it be U Sports level or going up to the pro level. Mm-hmm. So, to make it in his words, to make the league bigger, better, and stronger. So, my question was, what's going to make CFL 2.0 any different or better than the NFL Europe experiment? And for people who are not familiar with NFL Europe, the NFL, which is the biggest football conglomerate there is in the world, that no one can compete with, decided, I think, from 1990 or maybe a little earlier than that, to for about 16 years run.
Give or take like 5 years, somewhere.
Somewhere in that range. I should have did a little more research, but they ran their own league in Europe for 16 years. Changed the name about 3 or 4 times.
Mm-hmm. Ended with NFL Europa.
NFL Europa. So my thing is, that thing lasted 16 years. So we're talking about the biggest football conglomerate in the world with all the money, all the backing, all the players that they possibly could get their hands on.
All of the the telecom backing too, and the media.
Yes,
they could have put it on ESPN. They have strings they can pull.
Super strings. So they did the NFL Europe thing. So my thing is, what is going to make the CFL's experience into international markets? Because again, like we said last week, it's all about dollars. It's all about building revenue stream. So if the biggest conglomerate who can build any revenue stream wherever the hell they want couldn't do it, what's going to make this one any better? Tyler, please chime in.
Well, as far as the NFL Europe goes, so I did my own research on it, because I only know one person personally that went and played there. And, it was set up as a league to develop players, which now, as we talked about in the last episode, the Alliance League, the AAF, is starting this season. And now that is going to be basically like the NBA has the G League, the Gatorade League, whatever, for, developing players to go back or to get into the NFL or NBA, and MLB has the minors. NFL and football in general needed some kind of minor league, so they developed AAF. But that's exactly what they were trying to do with NFL Europe.
Yeah.
So the one player I know that played there, he told me all about it, and he had a great time. First off, he had a great time. He was playing football. You're basically paid enough to live month to month, like being in college.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get your scholarship, and then you get enough money for rent and food basically, and you know, at the end of the month I was always asking my parents for some gas money.
Yeah.
But that's basically the gist of what NFL Europe was. It didn't pan out, and the very last season, for example, and most of the teams were in Germany by the end of it, they were losing $30 million a year, $30 million a year deficit. So it was not just unsuccessful, it was extremely unsuccessful. It was a fucking dumpster fire.
Yeah.
And like you said, that was with the backing of the NFL, the leader in football. Undeniably, come on. It's the NFL. It's the only
monopoly on the game.
Absolutely, yeah. And the CFL is a great league, but obviously the NFL, there's more money, there's more teams, there's more backing, there's more funding, there's more media attention. There's stars, there's superstars. You know, I don't think that it's the right time for CFL. I feel like the CFL isn't popular enough to even try an experiment like that. You know, I personally feel like if you have the money to branch out and start a new league that's going to support the CFL,
right?
Wouldn't you rather do it within Canada? If you're going to make a new league, wouldn't you rather make a new league like?
But I don't think the goal is to make a new league. I think the goal, again, like Ambrosi said, was to build a bridge so that they could bring in international players from other countries. And if guys who aren't good enough to play in the CFL, or Canadian players who need more development, we could send them to these other leagues so that they can get experience. Now, again, the Canadian game is a completely different game to play. And most other countries are playing what we play here in the States. They're playing American-style football. So, my thing is, if you're going to train guys to play football a certain way, and we know as from experience being Americans and coming up to Canada, it's not a very easy game to transition from when you've learned to play a certain way.
No. I remember when the 3 quarters I played against you guys, there was a situation where, and I had done my research for the most part, you know, as far as the differences of the game, you know, how it affects the gameplay. But there was a particular situation where we were on our own, like 30, threw a ball, it was incomplete, and then there was a flag on the field. So I started walking. I thought I was on the defense. So I started walking, right? And then the defense, you guys were like, hey, 60, where are you going? And I was like, don't you guys have a penalty? And they're like, no, the penalty's on you guys. And I was like, oh. What for? And they're like, oh, maybe a false start, whatever. So I start walking back, and then my team's like, no, that was a pass interference. I was like, no, it wasn't. The penalty didn't get called. And like, no, it didn't get called. That's why we're challenging it.
Oh,
and I was like, what are you talking about?
Flag was a
no, I didn't know you could challenge a no call. I was like, first off, that's an amazing rule. I think that's an amazing rule. I feel like you should be able to challenge calls. And like the Saints had the no call, they should be able to challenge that.
Oh yeah, but we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later.
But yeah, so basically, I probably walked like 50 yards just mindlessly during a game around the field, lost. It's a different game. You train one way, you prepare one way for an American football game, and then every league is different.
Game. So my thing is that, well, I did some research, and it said that the countries, at least some countries that play, football, or at least other countries outside of the U.S., that the biggest American playing footballs was China, Israel, Sweden, Mexico, and Canada. Those are the only other the biggest countries that play American football outside of the U.S. of A. USA. All right. So, again.
We trained with a couple Chinese football players, too, last year. It was Kath, and other guy's name was like...
I was late for that. I wasn't there for that.
Okay,
I don't remember that.
Yeah, so we had a couple Chinese football players in the building training at Fisher Sports. And they were like two of the better players in that league. And just athletically, like just body type wise, and there's not saying like Chinese athletes are behind, but like for football, it's not the sport you go into.
All right, but again, here's my argument again. Now, most people who are not aware, there are other leagues in the U.S. Didn't know the new leagues, but other established leagues that have been around off and on.
Yeah.
One was the Arena Football League.
Yeah.
The Arena Football League actually started AFL China, which was. They took arena football, took it over to China, sent players over to China to help get it started.
Yeah.
And they thought that they could create another league in China, which I mentioned already was one of the biggest football playing countries in the world, American football. Their league flopped, I think, after a year.
Didn't take off at all.
Didn't take off at all.
Ticket.
They took guys from over here, picked them up, sent them over to China for about 4 or 5 months to play a whole schedule. Had teams, media coverage, all that stuff. Ended up washing out. Nothing happened. Nothing became of it. I think it lasted for 1 year.
Yeah.
So again, here's my thing. CFL 2.0. Why are we looking at international options when, like I've stated before in the episode before, and I've stated before on Twitter, there's a lot to be done within Canada. And Canada's already listed as one of the biggest football playing, well, they said American football playing, but we know Canadian football is a different game than American style.
Slightly.
But, small nuances that make it a very big challenge for a lot of guys to transition to.
O-line, D-line, I feel like, is the only position that's semi-unaffected other than the 1 yard neutral zone rule.
What? That's the biggest thing.
It was big. It makes it easier for your boy. It makes it easier for me.
Well, yeah, it gives you more. You get more time to make contact. But my thing is, for pass blocking, it may be a little odd. For me, it threw me off because
it throws me off and run. It's opposite for
me
because I'm a patient
hard.
player. So like pass blocking, it's like you're a yard off the ball. I'm already in good position.
I wasn't. They don't call me bone crusher for no reason, baby. I'm a headbanger.
Well, yeah,
I love to mash you.
Well, see, that's the problem. So like as a tackle for the run blocking side of things with the defense in Canadian, so in the NFL they can line up on the ball as long as no part of their body is over the ball.
And
they're
I
not
flourished
offsides.
in that.
Exactly. Me
Again,
too.
down south, I did play some tackle in college as well. I played all 5 positions, but mainly when I got to the NFL, I played a lot of guard, I played a lot of center. So for me, everything was immediate. Everything was right on top of me.
Yeah.
So when that yard of the ball got incorporated into it, I was like, damn, I got to learn to be a little more patient and let things develop a little more because I can't be, like I was Quentin Nelson, baby. I was, pow, banging everything. That was me. But when I got to the CFL, I had to learn how to be very patient.
Yeah, so for run blocking, exactly. And for me, for the CFL, same thing. So like pass blocking was easier for me just because like I'm already in good position because they're a yard off the ball. I have my perfect angle already. But then run blocking, so in the CFL, you got a guy, if I'm blocking, let's say like an inside zone left and I'm left tackle. The guy's a yard off the ball and he's like 3 yards outside of me. That means that I have to cover 4 yards before I make contact with him against a player that is lighter, faster, quicker, just because of, size. Yeah. Well, I'll hesitate to say more athletic, carrying around some weight, self-suck. But so like, it takes like, I'm used to making contact on my second step. Yeah. Right? I always want my second step in the ground before I make contact. But in the CFL, if you're blocking an outside guy, it's your third or fourth step. So it's a much longer time to keep your base right, to keep your base wide, and to keep your weight in balance. Because if you're over your toes, that dude's going to swim you no problem.
And that's the cardinal sin in the CFL is getting, as a tackle, getting beat inside. Exactly. The cardinal sin.
So back to the leagues, though. There is a lot to be done in the CFL. Like, it's a different game, right?
Yes.
And they need some kind of developmental league. And what's also different about the CFL too is there's rule differences between when players can come out of college and because in CFL
Canada they have developmental style stuff like they have
the college thing.
Not even college. They have junior football, which is for people who are coming out of high school who don't go to college, or guys who are ineligible wherever. Since there's a whole other league of junior football in Canada. And I think that is awesome that Canadians do that because I wish that was possible in America for how many football players we have.
Exactly.
If there was a league in between
it's
college and high school,
it's basically like
where you're not a pro, but you're still, you know what I'm saying? You still have eligibility.
in America.
Pretty much.
It's called JUCO. So
JUCO, but you don't lose eligibility.
Exactly. You don't lose eligibility. Now, I was getting tweeted by at Lauren Goldberg, and was telling me about there was a CFL team, a U18, U19 team. I honestly didn't even know what that meant.
Oh, the international. That's amateur, though.
Yeah, amateur. Yeah, it's amateur. Yeah, it's high school. But that were beating American teams. And so it's different. It's different.
But all the best American players don't play in that, though.
No. The best American players, like, if they really want a career and they didn't get any offers out of high school, they go to JUCO.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of JUCO prospects that make it to a major D1 football team after their second year when they're, 19, 20 years old. And then they go to, like, we had a guy who's playing in the league now, for example, like Joe Walker was JUCO guy. Kyle Long, JUCO guy.
JUCO.
Kyle Long is very
Kyle
high
Long played baseball in JUCO.
He played baseball at Florida State. He was a left-handed pitcher. and then he went to JUCO for football in California.
Yeah,
and then we picked
Oregon.
him up for his senior year at Oregon, and we played next to each other. And he
only
is
started
killing it.
like 2 games.
He started 4 games, and he was drafted 20th overall.
Yeah. Well, he's an athletic freak, though.
Well, he's the biggest freak I've ever met. Like,
he's an athletic
never
freak.
put up big numbers in the weight room, but then you look at the guy, his forearms were the size of my quads.
He looks like Popeye, real life.
He does look like he's a real life Popeye.
He's a real life Popeye.
He's a freak of nature. He had grown.
I know Kyle because we spent time in Chicago together.
Yeah. That makes
Yeah,
sense. Like,
yeah.
like he had grown. Like, there's a difference between like weight room strength and grown man strength.
Yeah.
He had grown man strength. I'm convinced when he was 13
Super
years old.
grown man strength.
I mean, he has the pedigree. Like,
I mean,
how
the
he
dude
was his
could throw a
dad.
baseball like 90-something miles
Yeah, he could.
an
It was
hour. Like, I heard
97 was his top.
I heard he
Left-handed.
was a killer. He was a killer
And
pitcher.
and obviously there's some issues, and then he went to
Yeah.
JUCO for football.
Yeah.
But
I think that's what killed his baseball career. He had too many off-the-field issues. But he has, again, he's the son of an NFL Hall of
Howie
Famer.
Long, his older brother,
His older brother's
is
an
a
all-pro defensive end.
Future Hall of Famer.
Yes, it is.
And
Bloodlines,
Chris Long.
Chris Long, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Chris Long. Bloodlines are big.
Huge in sports in general. I mean, this is a little off topic, so I'll find myself, but I'm going to go at this point.
Oh, yeah.
A little off topic, but like football in general, CFL, NFL, it is a good old boy system.
Yeah.
If you know, it's nepotism
It's who
on
you know.
nepotism. It's who you know.
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Exactly, and which is true in the professional career in general, but it's very true in football. And I'm not saying Kyle wasn't. I mean, he deserved what he got for sure.
Oh, for sure.
But like, you get more looks if your dad is a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best defensive players
hands
ever to play the
down.
game, Howie Long.
Kyle was a very good football player, though.
He was absolutely, bro. If he gets his
Actually,
hands on
he
you,
was
it's
pretty
over.
good. Oh, yeah.
It's absolutely over. There's nothing you can do against that.
There's nothing you can do against that. He has
And-
super long
yeah.
arms, big hands, no homo.
But he went from, he was in JUCO and he developed in JUCO. In Canada, what you can do, what I'm saying is like there's already some kind of developmental things in place. Is if you're like a third, I don't know exactly how it
That
goes.
dude pretty
but
much walked in the NFL and was an all-pro off the rip.
he was, man. Well,
That's
it's because he had a
crazy.
huge following too. Like he had over 100,000 followers on Twitter before he got to the league.
Yeah.
He's very active. He's funny.
He's a very big
Yeah,
personality,
very
too.
big personality. Which
Very big personality.
the more your name is talked about, it helps you.
Yes, it does.
Now, especially with all pro stuff because it's all about votes.
Yeah, it
fan
is.
votes.
Everything.
So you got the most fan votes, you're gonna get in, which
You
is
know
fun.
what? I'm going to find myself because I'm about to go off topic again, too.
Boom!
Yes, here we go.
We'll get a better ding for that
Get a
one.
better ding for that one. Again, media, football players don't realize that having a great relationship with media is very huge in terms of your
Don't get
career,
it. Some guys don't get it.
in terms of you getting the things that you want to get. I've heard guys talk about being slighted and feeling like people don't show them the respect they deserve.
And then they
especially
go to
in
the media and they're dickheads to them. Or like they're just not, they're not willing to go put their name out there.
Hey man, having a great relationship with the media is
Big time.
Is big time, and for you to get your all-star nods, for you to get your all-pro nods, for you to get all that shit. All right, but that actually helps me segue into the next topic that we're going to talk about today.
We're not even there. We're talking about developmental leagues.
Okay, yes.
We'll get back to it. So
We'll get back to it.
So in Canada, the difference between college football in the U.S. and Canada is in the U.S., once you're done with your eligibility in college, that's it. You either got to go pro or you got to stop playing football. In Canada, after 3 or 4 years, I'm not sure the exact years, you can get invited to a camp, right? And you can even play a little bit, but you get invited to a camp, and they say, and you get drafted. Like it's a draft thing, and you go to camp, and they're like, okay, well, go play with your university team this year. So you already went to a pro camp, but you can go back to your college and you can play that season.
I think that's big as well too.
I think that's big time, and so that's like the developmental thing that Canada already has, which is a
that's the
reason
thing.
I don't think they need to start like a Europe league because there's already the CFL can use more money. They don't need to expand to other international.
But that's the thing though. Why are you looking at other demographics to get your money when there's a whole lot of money at home that you can still capitalize on that you're
That's
not
what
getting?
I'm saying. It's like either take that money you were gonna make internationally and put it back into the CFL. Make more of a star player mentality or make a developmental league at home.
All right. Well, again,
Give guys a shot at home.
It was a story a month ago, maybe a month ago, but fairly recent.
Yeah.
That CFL donated $4 million to amateur sports in Canada. So again, why can't you take that $4 million or whatever else money that you have lying around to spend it on other stuff other than because you're not spending it on the players, you're not spending it on on media, or you're not doing a good enough job spending money on marketing to get to these people. Well, if you feel like the biggest thing to develop Canadian talent or to get younger generation involved is by creating things for them to do, why not put that money, not just give it to amateur leagues, but start your own thing that's affiliated. Have CFL players around, have CFL players involved with it.
Exactly. Because like the NFL, like you said, they went to Europe, flopped horribly. Fucking horribly.
That's 2 leagues. Arena tried it, NFL tried it, didn't work. Now to the point where NFL, they're actually sending their teams over there to Europe to play in games.
Yeah. They're just
so that people could get more into the NFL.
Yeah, exactly. Because what they're trying to do is to make more revenue for ESPN. They're trying to get more people watching the league to create more viewership revenue.
Exactly.
Now
so I think that's what the CFL's doing, but
it's not. The CFL's not at the point where they can. If the NFL couldn't do it, the CFL's definitely not at the point where they can do it. So might as well take that money. And
what if all this is a big distraction from CBA stuff?
I feel like this isn't U.S. politics,
but it's Canadian.
Where it's distractions everywhere.
It's probably the same thing though. It's real though. What if it's a distraction? What if they're just trying to buy time because their heads are up their ass because they don't know about the CBA, so they're trying to find different topics to keep people distracted from talking about that?
No, I disagree with that only because there's money involved. Like there's too much money for the higher ups to spend. It's like it would cost less money to give everything Canadian players.
They have money.
No, they have money, but it's like,
listen, I don't know how it works in Montreal.
I know, but that's a waste of money to spend on a distraction from the CBA. I don't know how it works. This is a 6 month. The CBA is a 6 months topic. They're not going to spend like how many millions of dollars.
Yeah, but you got to think about the ownership groups. Like I don't know how it is in Montreal, but in Calgary, we're owned by the same people that own the Flames. And hockey is a
the Flames are huge.
Yeah, exactly. So
my entire family's huge.
That's what I'm saying. And hockey, and people don't know that hockey teams and hockey players, that are Canadian teams, they get paid in U.S. dollars.
I didn't know that.
They get paid in U.S. dollars,
which is 25% stronger. Or that's not exact math, but it's a lot.
But again, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If a hockey player is playing in Canada for a pro league that has, again, it's a different circumstance. I understand that.
Yeah.
But because hockey is so widely supported in Canada, those players can get paid in U.S. dollars because they're in the league with U.S. teams as well.
Yeah.
So if you're a hockey player for the Calgary Flames or for the Vancouver Canucks
or the Montreal Canadiens,
or the Montreal Canadiens, you know what I'm saying? Those dudes are getting paid millions in U.S. dollars.
I didn't know that.
They're fucking making bank in Canada.
That makes perfect sense.
So you're getting $1.5 million in U.S. dollars as a hockey player. You're really making $2-3 million because you live in Canada.
Yeah,
you're in Canada.
That's $2 million Canadian,
bro.
That's like it's actually just over $2 million.
And again,
Canadian.
Some teams are owned by the same ownership group.
That's crazy.
The same ownership group that owns the goddamn Raptors and the Maple Leafs in Toronto. They own the Argos.
I didn't know that either.
Exactly.
That's wild.
Exactly. That's my thing. So if you got these big conglomerate ownership groups that they have the money to spend.
Yeah.
Why are we not taking advantage of those things?
Honestly, here's my answer for you. I don't fucking know.
Exactly. No one knows. Why. But then again, this is topics and stuff that I think fans don't really think as players, they don't think we actually notice shit. I notice shit. Again, I probably shouldn't be commenting on it because again, those are my bosses because I am a Calgary Stampeder. I'm employed by the Calgary Stampeders, but fuck it.
But also the Calgary Stampeders
themselves. It's healthy conversation.
Well, yeah, the healthy that's the thing too. It's not like you're talking shit about them. It's because you're paid what you're paid, and it's not like they specifically control what you're paid. They have a voice in it.
Yeah.
You know, they have a voice.
But my thing is that I always hear people give the argument that the Canadian Football League is monetarily we're not on the same level as these other leagues or da-da-da. But
which I understand. Which I understand why we're not on the same level.
Just because of that comes from support, though.
But it comes from support. And why would you spend money to go international to Europe and all these other countries when It's
The dollars are right there.
Exactly. It's failed.
They're
You're
right
gonna
there.
instead. Why wouldn't you just put those same dollars back in the league so there is more monetary value? So you have more support. So you're getting better players.
Yeah.
You're gonna get better players because there's more Like if you have a player that doesn't know where he's gonna go right now in the state of where all professional football is.
have a workforce coming from the biggest football playing country there is, and that's USA.
Yeah.
And there's so many football players down here that not everybody can make it to the NFL. Just the numbers just
Numbers don't. Yeah. There's not
statistically
there.
it's
statistically not viable.
Everyone's not going to be able to play in the NFL.
No.
It's way more bodies than there is space for.
Absolutely.
So again, when you get those guys, which a lot of CFL teams, scouting departments like to do, is look for the scraps that are having a hard time latching on the NFL rosters because there's so much overturn, so much body. You got to understand, at least in Division I alone, there is 120 Division I teams. Now you're talking about teams that have 120 plus guys on every team. You do the math. There's only 200 and something draft picks. Again, there's 53 spots on the roster. There's 90 spots for the offseason. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, just by hearing the numbers alone, you already know that, damn, there's more bodies that we can account for that plays the sport.
And why would a player, that is between leagues, right? So you're getting paid, like, let's say, so rookie contract, basically no matter what it is, you're getting paid minimum. If you're a first round overall, like your boy, if you're a first round guy, you're still getting paid that $54,000 minimum, and then there's some bonuses, right? But if there's a guy coming out and he has, I know that was the biggest self-suck. That's why I find myself. I don't know if you watch the YouTube of this, you'll see.
I just had to comment on it.
I said it. I find myself.
Hey,
I will be paying into the bucket.
I respect the fact that you acknowledge it.
I'll acknowledge
it. Coming.
I acknowledge it. So you're getting paid $54,000 Canadian and then some bonuses Canadian.
Yeah.
But if you're a guy that has to pick between leagues and you didn't make it to the NFL, but you have this where the NFL started the Alliance League, and you have a guaranteed $70,000 American for 12 weeks of work with a team that has
you're not come to Canada.
No, you're not going to come to Canada. So why would Canada, the CFL, put all this money into an international team when they're basically just killing themselves on a U.S. prospect where they could take that money, give guys better contracts, when it makes it better for guys in the U.S. to choose the CFL.
Putting money into it because they're not. No one knows for sure if they're putting money into it. But what I'm saying is that if you're trying to capitalize on dollars that you think are out there for you to get to build a bigger revenue stream, there are so many dollars at home that are unaccounted for that you're not trying to get.
Yeah, you're right. I was talking more about
if you max out everything in Canada and you go, damn, we done maxed out everything here. Shit, we gotta look other places to try to get some more money.
No, see,
cool. I understand that.
Yeah,
but you ain't max out all the dollars here. You're not selling out every stadium in Canada. Every team doesn't have at least should be able to fill 33,000 seats a game.
Yeah.
Every game in the CFL should be sold out easily.
And no, what I'm saying, would help that is if they need to find more money. But if they didn't, let's say they don't even try to find more money. What I'm saying is, if they're going to spend, let's just say, very conservatively that they spend $30 million a year in Europe.
Yes.
Instead of taking the $30 million in Europe and they just put that money and just raise that minimum contract to around 75, 100
I think that's what
grand.
They need to do for the CBA.
For the CBA, to compete instead of putting it in Europe.
Is going to put a very big dent.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Instead of putting it international, just put it take the same money, put it right back in the league, get the athletes you need to get, and then spend some extra money to market those athletes and get the attention on the CFL. That way there's more revenue coming into the CFL and it'll be more profitable. Yeah. The Europe thing will not be profitable.
It's not going to have a
better investment. You saw the NFL losing $30 million a year by the end of their experiment.
And they had players from those countries playing in the league.
The NFL lost $30 million a year. What do you think the CFL is going to do? If that little turnout is if there's that little turnout in Europe for the biggest football name in the world, you think it's going to be better with the CFL? You think it's going to be profitable with the CFL?
But again, a lot of people are saying that it may work because it's going to create awareness. But the Canadian game is a completely different game than what the game that everybody is playing.
Yeah.
How do you create a big enough awareness to create dollars for the Canadian League? for a game that's everybody doesn't play.
Marketing, which is again where money should be going instead of creating this
Marketing
other
at home,
league.
yes.
At home, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, we're in agreement.
We're getting very long on this topic, so we're gonna move to the next topic. And what I wanted to talk about is a very it's kind of a controversial topic, but I seen a CFL player, Sir Vincent Rogers, for people who don't know, left tackle for the Ottawa Red Blacks, tweeted out something I thought was very interesting earlier, and he said, "I saw 2 offensive coordinators get slighted from opportunities they arguably deserved, and I believe that's wrong. But where was the backlash when a healthy player was stripped of an opportunity to win a rushing title he was on track to get by being sacked for the last 2 games of the season?" And I guess the rushing title, the player he's talking about is William Powell, who I believe is a very good running back in this league. I think he's the second best running back in the league behind Sutton. I think Sutton's a fucking dog. I love Sutton. I wish I could have.
Bro, he is a dog.
I love Sutton. No slight to my running back, Don Jackson, who's also a beast.
Will Sutton,
I love you, Don.
Will Sutton plays for my team, Montreal. Will Sutton
he did, but he's in DC now.
He's a dog.
I love the way Will Sutton plays.
Yep.
I like running backs like that.
He's the prototypical running back. He's exactly what you want.
I think he's the best running back in the league. I think as he plays a full 18 games with a good offensive line.
Yep, with one that's not
everybody
hurt and
knows.
changing.
Yeah, Montreal's offensive line wasn't no slight, Tyler.
Hey, no, it's okay. Well,
you guys
I got hurt.
sucked.
Well, let's take it at face value. I got hurt right away, and then
we're not talking about you. Doesn't matter if you was on the line.
All right, fine.
Your line sucked.
Well, that's because we only started the
Doesn't
same
matter who
old
you played.
line.
You guys played a whole bunch of guys. A lot of guys
Yep.
with experience. A lot of still suck. Doesn't really get.
That's
Anyway,
fair. We did suck because we had there was only 2 games where we started the same offensive line in a row. Only 2 games all season.
Okay, I don't want to hear that. Anyway,
I'm just telling you this.
Again,
I'll make an excuse.
So
I feel like there's our 5th fine. Excuse fine. I'm gonna make an excuse.
You know what?
That's an excuse fine.
That's an excuse. That is a great fine.
That's a great fine to add.
That's a great fine to add. Again, like I was saying, do you think that teams withholding guys from getting titles, and I think the slight comes from he probably had a bonus in his contract that he could have got for winning the rushing title.
Oh, that happens all the time. NFL,
NFL
and
NFL
CFL.
as well. NFL as
there
well.
was a guy like if
teams do hold guys back from getting bonuses.
Yep. If I was on the Chargers and we had a guy on the O-line, he was in his contract. All he needed the next season, and you know he was a guy that played like 8 years in the league. He was still doing fine, great, whatever. He needed like 8 more plays to reach this like $2 million bonus, and he would have at least been good enough to be a 6-man on our team. Cut, done with the league, done, retired. He was cut. He retired after he was cut.
Well, I'm not gonna say it's everybody because I did see a story that the Eagles did give. They found a way to give Nick Foles his $1 million that he missed out on the bonus for playing a certain amount of snaps for the team. He missed it, I think, by a couple snaps, so they decided to give him like a $1 million bonus for something else to kind of make up for that.
Yeah.
So sometimes,
but he also won them a Super Bowl, so that's a little. There's again.
So again, there are some teams that will take care of guys that they really value, but for the masses, there is a lot of slight in the pro football world about teams keeping guys from getting bonuses, teams keeping guys from hitting certain incentives in their contract.
And that's the thing about Sir Vincent. So Sir Vincent played for the Ottawa Red Blacks, and for those that don't know, they played the Stampeders. Excuse me, in the Grey Cup. The Grey Cup.
Wow, what is
the
that?
Red Cup?
That's another fine.
Yeah, what
misspeaking. Let's go.
Well,
let's go. You're a CFL player. You should know how to say Grey Cup. Where the fuck did you get Red Cup from? I'm fining you for that.
All right, I'll take that fine. I feel like that's embarrassing, the O-line fine, I feel like.
Still. No, it's not the O-line. You're embarrassing the league.
Okay. So, anyway, so they were already, a lot of the times I wouldn't say that them holding a player back from a game that statistically didn't matter for their playoff run. I get that. You want to keep your starters healthy, right? So, like, do you think it was the fact that he didn't... Do you think that Sir Vincent, that him being sat the last 2 games, had more to do with the fact that he was about to hit that contract bonus, or do you think it had more to do with the fact that the team wanted him to stay healthy for their playoff run?
I think it could have been a double edge kind of thing. I think they could have played it off for the media that they were trying to keep their best players healthy for a playoff run. But again, they had already locked up first in the East, so all they had to do was play the East final at home and then go to the Grey Cup.
Yeah.
So, and again, you get an automatic bye week.
If they would have lost those last 2 games,
so you sat him for 2 games, you get a bye week, and then you don't play for another week after that. So that's almost a month where he went without getting any actual game reps. Do you think sitting your best running back, one of your best players on your team for a month, is smart to do if you're trying to win a championship?
No, I feel like at that point in the season, some guys will
and
relax.
Again,
they'll relax. They'll take their
mind
off the game.
Because I'm going to be controversial because you guys know me.
But wait, wasn't there who won the rushing title this year? Then if it wasn't Sir Vincent?
I'm going to be controversial because you guys know me. The guy he was up against happened to be the Canadian great, the sensation running back, Mr. Andrew Harris of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
The Winnipeg
Blue
Bombers.
And his coach made sure that he got to play, even though their last game didn't mean anything against the Edmonton Eskimos because they are already locked up third in the West, and it didn't matter whether they won or lost the game. They were still going to have to go to SAS and play SAS.
They were going to go to the playoffs.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you let him play the first quarter to make sure he got the rushing title.
So wait, hold.
So William Powell still had 30 yards on Andrew Harris, 30 to 40 yards on Andrew Harris, and he sat the last 2 games. So you're trying to tell me this guy basically was in line to win the rushing title. You sit him for 2 games. And the guy who was competing for him to get it, his coach let him even play a quarter and a half.
Only let him play a quarter and a half. So he pulled him after that.
He let him play as soon as he got it. As soon as he got a yard over, you got a couple yards over it, boom, all right, you're done for the day.
Holy shit. So you're saying teams in a very similar situation. At that point in the season, they had locked up the playoffs. No matter what happens in those games, they're in the playoffs.
They wasn't moving down.
So one team sat the guy that already pretty much had the so they sat Sir Vincent. Pretty much had the Ottawa sat Sir Vincent who would have had
the rushing the left tackle. He did sit the last game, but I'm talking about William Powell. William Powell is the Ottawa Red Blacks running back. He is in line to get the rushing title this year, which he should have got it. He was well ahead in yards. Yeah. Well ahead in yards. He sat the last 2 games of the season. Last 2. Even before they had. We talk about the last 2.
So we're talking about. They
got the playoffs.
So on your controversial point, his
head coach is Canadian.
His head coach is Canadian. He sat
the other team's head coach is Canadian.
Wow.
The player that got the title was Canadian. The player who got sat for 2 games was American. Do you think national status has something to play into that? Who knows?
Who knows?
But that is kind of controversial. I don't know. But again, how do you sit one of your best players on your team, one of your offensive superstars?
Like, just let him get the title.
If he had played one game,
how big is that for a man's career if he can get a title?
If he had played one game and he got 70, 80, 90 yards, not even a 100-yard game.
Yeah, he would have locked it up for sure.
He would have locked it up.
If he would have played first and a half quarter of those 2 games, absolutely would have been locked up.
Yes. Now I feel like if you gave him a chance to put it out of reach, or say at least give him the game before the last game. If you didn't put it out of reach then, and you wanted to sit him for the last game to keep him healthy, because you were scared of him to get hurt for playoffs, all right, cool, I understand that. But 2 games? 2 games is
2 games. That's a lot.
That's questionable.
Mm-hmm.
That's questionable.
Like for us, let's put this into a team that didn't make it to the playoffs. Us, the last 2 games were a little strange because you have our starter who's Johnny Manziel, and this is like when we were doing really well.
You guys got to play for pride. You guys got to.
We got to play for pride, but at the same time, but still, so like it's a different situation because we we played other quarterbacks a lot more time than Johnny at the last 2 games to keep Johnny healthy and just kind of see what these other quarterbacks could do because there wasn't.
You want to see what the other quarterbacks could do because you want to see if one of them could keep Johnny from starting next year. Because you're not going to.
And you already keep Johnny healthy.
You're already on tab for Johnny's contract, which the Hamilton Tiger Cats put you on for.
Yeah.
Because they decided to give him at least some of the money that he wanted before he even came up here. Again, if you're a football player and you think you're good, humble yourself, sir, and come up here and take what you need to get and not try to get paid like a starting quarterback in CFL who's unproven. I had a little riff about that too, but it's another day for another story.
And I digress.
Again, You're on the block for his contract anyway, and again, he's gonna have to be the starter because you're paying him damn near starter money, or at least a guy who's a well-established quarterback in this league. So why would you sit him instead of giving him all the game reps he could get?
Yeah,
because he needs them. We've all seen Johnny play. He needs all the game reps he could get.
Those decisions go higher than you and I. And again, like we can have our opinions about it.
They do. I can't wait to get into a football front office one day, man. Listen, again, off top. I'm gonna get off topic.
Fine.
Again,
man, we are already up to like it. Yes. We haven't even decided what the fines are going to be, but we are already up to at least $30-$40 in fines between the two of us.
Probably $50.
Man, again, our day in Old Town Scottsdale come this April or so is going to be huge. Okay, anyway.
Again, I feel like with front offices and stuff, I hate those guys in the front office who can't keep it real with players. Again, you have guys' livelihoods in your hand. I think the least you can do is be straight up with motherfuckers.
Be straight up. It's business because we treat it as a business. The second we're in college, it's treated as business. Those guys. The second we're out of college, it's even more of a business.
Who want to dance? Who don't want to give it to you straight
don't
up?
Tell me what
you try to coddle feelings. No, fuck that. Give it to me straight up.
Don't tell me what you think I want to hear.
Yes. And don't assume what you think without having a conversation with me first.
Right.
I hate guys like that. Again. Front offices, if you listen, if any of them listen to this, but probably they don't, but they probably should, because I'm gonna give a lot of y'all some game that y'all need. Be straight up with the players. We like it when we straight up. All right.
If you honestly, it does me a lot more good if you straight up tell me I suck, I'm not gonna do this for you, than if you say I'm gonna do this for you and that never happens. Up.
Stop tiptoeing. Stop dancing.
I'm a grown man.
Yeah,
I can take it,
man. If he can't,
it might not be what I want to hear.
Can't take it. It doesn't matter.
It might not be what we want to hear, but we understand.
Pro football experience ever was me being on Hard Knocks, getting cut for millions of people to see.
Millions. Hard Knocks is the most watched.
Millions.
Football, like,
if anybody remembers episode 1, season 7 of Hard Knocks, yes, I remember it because I'll never forget that day. Season 7, episode 1, Miami Dolphins Hard Knocks in 2012. The very first cut of the show was your boy here. Very first.
That's like I feel like we should take.
And they set me up lovely. Set me up lovely. Oh, yeah. Got the goddamn cameras following me. I get to the hotel. The cameras walking the elevator with me. I'm like, oh shit, maybe I'm gonna be one of the fucking people they spotlight. Maybe I get something good.
Oh, he made it. Like, this is a guy we didn't expect to make it. Follow his story. We love him,
bro. For nothing.
Oh no.
For nothing. Walk me in the hotel. Walk me into my room. Ask me how I feel. First NFL camp, excited.
You're going to sleep. You're going to sleep that night. You're like, man, I'm gonna be that we made it.
Get ready for the conditioning test the next day.
I'm the underdog that
not
made it,
knowing
that
the axe is waiting to chop my goddamn head off when I get in the building.
Okay, I got a question about Hard Knocks though, because I have no idea about it. Obviously, I've never been on it. I've never asked anybody this question. Hard Knocks makes a lot of money for HBO, which makes brings more attention to the league. So many people watch it every year.
Oh yeah.
Do you get any money from that? Like an extra bonus? Like is there an extra check coming?
No.
How the fuck do they make that happen? Because the Madden. So for those that don't know,
you get a check from Madden.
Yeah, Madden every year you get like after taxes. Every year you get like $20,000, about just under $20,000 for Madden. Every player in the league.
Every player on the active roster.
No, that's not even true. Because I got
because practice squad guys get a check too.
No, because I was on IR, so you don't get your rookie.
IR guys get one.
Yeah, you weren't on
practice squad guys don't get the same check as everybody else. Okay.
Because I was on IR my rookie season with the Chargers, and I never even made it back to the NFL, and I still got my Madden check for 2017. And so the fact that it blows my mind that you're the players that are being so I feel like that needs to be something talked about in the NFL, is that players need to be paid for Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks brings in fucking revenue.
It does bring in revenue. Especially
players need to be paid something. Like the players on the team that's featured need to be paid something.
HBO is definitely, you have to have a subscription, whatever your cable service is, to even get HBO.
Absolutely.
So the fact that they get millions of viewers for it.
Millions. Hard Knocks is the #1 watched football show that's not football.
Yes. On a subscription?
Or that's not like the game
channel?
Yeah.
It's a shit ton of bread for the NFL. But no, teams don't even get some teams, like a lot of teams, after a while, after they saw the intricacies of it, a lot of teams was like, man, I don't want people to see exactly what we be doing in here. Like, Hard Knocks is really fucking cutthroat.
It absolutely is.
Super cutthroat. So
being on Hard Knocks would suck.
A lot of teams even hate getting picked for it. Like, after a while, teams stop volunteering. Some teams will volunteer, like, oh, hell yeah.
Well, that's the thing that bothers me. So, like, the thing that bothers me the most about that is, like, teams get picked, right? And who's making that money? Owners.
Owners,
commissioner, the higher ups in NFL. Players don't get shit, and they're the ones that are on the block. So, like, the ones that are getting, that are getting Hard Knocks views for guys like you that got cut, right? Like, that brings in views. Like,
and I got a nice fan following from that.
You got a nice fan following.
People felt bad for me.
Yeah, but then that's going to be their argument.
I felt bad for myself.
Well, you get exposure, but exposure doesn't pay the fucking house bills.
No, it doesn't.
If players are being, like, put out there, reality stars get checks.
Yeah.
That's a reality TV show.
Yeah.
Why don't you get a check if you're featured? That's fucked. I feel like that needs to be talked about in the NFL.
That is definitely a reality.
Yeah, so that was a little off topic, but we don't give ourselves a fine because that shit. I wanted to know that so bad.
Yeah, that was.
Okay,
but it was a great.
Yeah, I wanted to know.
Great off topic.
I feel like we've talked enough, on that one on the Sir Vincent. What's our next topic there?
All right, so now for the last topic of this episode, we are going to be talking about the big game coming up. And for people who don't know, the big game is the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
NFL Super Bowl, yes. For the two teams, the New England Patriots and the Los Angeles
Rams.
I
know it's weird to say,
LA
right?
has two teams,
Yeah,
right?
they have two teams, Rams and Chargers.
I talked about it the other day. I said St. Louis, and I was like, damn, they're not St. Louis anymore.
Right. People get more trouble with San Diego Chargers, and now they're LA Chargers.
I still call them San Diego Chargers.
I know. It's weird, because I was there the last year they played in San Diego. I was there, actually, because I was there in the offseason still rehabbing.
Yeah.
I was there the day they announced that they were moving to LA. Dude, there was like 6 of us in the building rehabbing in the training room.
Yeah.
And there was a crowd of people outside from San Diego
Sick.
making a mountain of their San Diego memorabilia, burning it. Yeah. There was a tractor pulling all the shit away.
Oh,
it was wild, dude. It was really weird. But
vicious.
Anyway, so we have the Patriots, of course.
The Patriots.
In the 3rd straight Super Bowl appearance.
So that's going to help us segue into this last part, which we're going to start incorporating a fan question of the week as well, outside of a question of the week that comes straight from us. So the fan question of the week we're going to talk about to help us with our Super Bowl topics comes from Tom Luzzy. And if people think the Luzzy name is familiar, yes, he is the son of Calgary Stampeder great Don Luzzy, who played 12 seasons, if I'm not mistaken, 12 seasons, 10 league All-Star honors, the great offensive defensive lineman. And again, he was another guy, CFL guy, with a great personality, if I do say so myself, because I try to live by that motto. Ding, yes, that is a self-suck. I don't
know. I'll retract that ding. It wasn't that bad.
That was a self-suck.
Okay.
But he did set the precedent for great football players who have great character, great personalities. And I think a lot of guys should not be afraid to let their personality characters out.
Yeah, which a lot of football players feel like they have to hide who they are, or I'm like a very a lot of guys feel like they need to hide their personality. There's no need.
But again, back to the question coming from Tom Luzzy. He said he listened to last week's episode, and being that I'm a guy who's experienced a lot of leagues, a lot of teams, he said, what did you see in New England that separated that team from all others that you've ever played for that made them a consistent winner? So here it is.
That's a great question, Tom.
It's a great question, Tom. And again, I couldn't get in depth with it on Twitter because there's so many characters you're limited to. That would have been about 5, 4, 6 tweets. So I'm going to do it here on Insights from the Locker Room.
Give it to him.
All right, listen. For people who don't understand the New England Patriots, they have a great hierarchy. And if you don't know what the word hierarchy means, that means they have a great ladder of status from the top to the bottom. And there, of course, we all know the very top of the ladder is Bill Belichick, the great mastermind, the great whatever you want to call him. He probably is the greatest coach in NFL history. I mean, you can't discredit the resume. I know
he's at least worth the conversation.
No, not even conversation. He has to have it. I think he's over goddamn Lombardi, who everybody knows the goddamn Super Bowl trophy is named after Vince Lombardi. So, of course, he's up there. But I think now you have to reconsider with the resume that Bill Belichick has. The Patriots been to 11 championships and out of the last 13 years.
Something stupid.
Something ridiculous. Tom Brady's been to 9 Super Bowls.
Tom Brady has won 5
quarterback.
Before that whole, like, I remember growing up I grew up as a Cowboys fan just because my dad was a Cowboys fan. And I don't.
It's America's team.
Yeah,
everybody
America's
seems
team,
to be
whatever,
Cowboys
yeah.
fans, even though they suck.
And my dad always, he was always an American type guy coming from Alberta, but and so were my uncles. But anyway, my whole thing was like when I was having arguments in elementary school was, oh well, the Cowboys have the most Super Bowls, 5 Super Bowls, right? Tom Brady alone has 5 Super Bowls.
He has more than
He had
America's team.
That's what I'm saying. Like he had tied America's team for their entire. He tied
entire
the Cowboys for their
organization.
entire organization's history in his career.
In his career.
Currently, and he could get a
career.
6. He could have more than they
He
did.
probably is going to get his 6.
He probably.
He's
Oh,
probably
is that-
going to get it.
Anyway, so we'll go back
we'll
to
get
what
to
you're
that.
saying.
We'll get to
It was
that.
just I was talking about how impressive it is.
Okay,
Like, their run
again,
is fucking
so
ridiculous.
for me, being a player, being in that locker room, being around Tom Brady, being around Bill Belichick, even though it was for a short 2.5 month stint, it's enough time to really get good insights from that locker room. So, Bill Belichick is a fucking genius. When I tell you, not in the literal sense, the man knows football in and out. And the crazy part is, his favorite sport is fucking lacrosse. He loves lacrosse.
I didn't know that, really.
Yes, his son played lacrosse.
Oh, is he from the East Coast? I have no idea about
think
Bill
he is.
when it comes from
He's
his
from somewhere. I can't remember exactly where. I got to, but he's a huge lacrosse fan.
Interesting.
He probably loves lacrosse more than he loves football. But the man is a football genius because he understands personalities. He understands personnel. He understands how everything fits.
I was just gonna say, like, I feel like he understands like how everything fits in his
He
scheme.
understands how everything fits. And the Patriots do a great job in their scouting department of finding players that fit their mold. And they never deviate from it. They
And that's
find
why
the
you see-
same type of players all the time.
That's why you see guys that are on other teams that don't really have a lot of success, and then nobody even really gives them a shot. But the Patriots are like, we fucking want that guy.
Yes. And
Because they're going to fit perfectly, and they have all the success in the world.
It's a similar situation, the same thing that happened in the CFL with Duron Carter going to Toronto and playing for a guy like Mark Trestman, who everybody knows. Mark Trestman is, if you don't know, Mark Trestman is the type of coach that doesn't like any type of shit, basically. Like, he's stickler, stick to the script. Everything has to be coordinated, planned, calculated, boom.
Chip Kelly.
That's Bill Belichick.
yeah, he's Chip
but he
Kelly.
doesn't mind guys having a personality as long as it doesn't mess with the original plan. If you come to work and he knows you're a guy that can work, that's very, again, they
Prime example is tight end.
Yeah.
Gronkowski. Huge personality.
Personality.
Big party guy.
Super party guy. I love Gronk.
Yeah,
he was fucking awesome when I was
party
there.
guy, right? And most coaches that are kind of like Belichick that have like their plan for this team, or whatever, are going to try to reel their guys in and try to not treat them like adults. Try to treat them like college players, and make them stick to like this.
No,
okay, don't talk to me. Don't do this.
You're an
don't
adult,
do that.
But
you're
you
an adult.
understand when you walk through those doors. You understand what comes first and foremost is football.
Which I think is huge about Belichick.
Belichick loves football players. It's not about running fast. It's not about jumping high. It's about smart football players. If you know the game of football and you want to learn the game of football and you're entrenched with being as in deep with the game of football as possible, you are the Patriots type of player. They love smart guys who work hard. That's it. That's the system. That's the guys they look for. That's the guys that fit it. If you're knowledgeable about the game and you have a good work ethic when you walk through those doors, anything else you do, I really don't care. That's it. That's all that matters. Again, I know that. That's why I compare my current team now, Calgary Stampeders, to the New England Patriots, because it's the same thing. I'm a guy who has great personality, but I'm a smart football player. And I love to play the game. I work hard. Surf suck. Hey, there's a reason why I've been in those two places.
More for the personality thing than anything.
Yes. But that's what I'm saying. That's what make the Patriots a consistent winner, a consistently good team, is because those two main traits that they look for, they find it in you. If you don't have it, then you don't have it. Shit, they tried to see if it would work with Josh Gordon. Didn't work out. Sometimes they take gambles on guys that they know are good football players. But
that's why they wouldn't take somebody like Antonio Brown.
No.
They wouldn't pick up Antonio Brown. No way.
Unless Belichick talked to them and goes, listen, if you come here, Understand this is what it's about.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing too that I like about Bill is that if there's a player that he knows is a good player and you think they can help his team win,
Yeah.
he has no problem with bringing them in and talking to them on a man-to-man basis like, listen, let me figure this guy out. I'm not going to go off of what this person is saying. I'm not going to go off of what that person is saying. I'm going to figure it out for myself. So that's why you have guys like Aaron Hernandez who nobody knew was out there bucking people for a fucking side job.
Yikes.
While he played for the Patriots, and they gave the man $40-something million. Of course, they had no clue he was bucking people because when the motherfucker walked through the door, he was a hell of a football player.
Yeah.
So, again, that is why, sorry to go long-winded, but Tom, that is why Patriots will always be in the Super Bowl. They'll always win because they find blue-collar guys who work hard and are very knowledgeable, and they're good football players. They're not just athletes. They don't just look good in pads and a helmet. They don't, you know what I'm saying? There's a structure there, and guys know when you get there, I have to abide by the structure if I want to get on the field.
Exactly. You got to play for the team. You got to support the culture, which is the biggest thing ever.
That's it.
Again, going back to the locker room, got to have a strong locker room.
Great culture, great locker room.
Great culture. And so, is that your...
And Tom Brady's listen, Tom Brady is the GOAT. I'll say it.
Absolutely.
If he's not the GOAT, he is one of the GOATs of the game. You cannot talk about football without
talking
uttering Tom Brady.
He's got to be in the conversation of greatest of all time.
That
it's
guy
not already your opinion that
yes.
he's the greatest of all time. If he's not the greatest of all time in your eyes, he at least deserves an argument for you.
Listen, I've seen Tom Brady's work ethic firsthand. You're talking about a starting quarterback with multiple Super Bowls to his name, all types of endorsements, money, married to a supermodel. He has the quintessential perfect life for an athlete. Still sits in the front row.
Absolutely.
Still raises his hand and asks questions.
Yep.
Still takes notes. Still the first guy in the building, the last guy to leave.
Yep.
You want to talk about stupid work ethic? That dude's work ethic is crazy. And you would think with his
Makes
pedigree,
him successful. That's what makes him like 40 what? How old is he?
42.
He's like 42, 43,
41,
and he's
yes.
still the top
Killing.
of the league.
That guy is crazy. And I've heard stupid stories about Tom Brady shit. I heard him and his wife have orgies and shit.
Whoa.
Yes. I'm talking
I haven't
about,
heard that.
He has,
I haven't heard that.
he has the quintessential greatest life ever.
Goodness
Could you
gracious.
imagine being married to a supermodel and when you guys go out,
I can't
she's
imagine. My wife is
hey,
basically a
that girl's
supermodel.
cute. Let's bring her home.
Hey, my wife could be a supermodel if she wanted to.
All right, but not to get
So
off topic. Not to get off topic. Again, so talk about the Super Bowl.
So is that your pick to win? So between the Rams and the Patriots, is your pick the Patriots?
Of course.
You can't count them out.
You can't bet against the Patriots.
And I think it's
not
an
smart.
interesting Super Bowl because you have one team. I think the Rams are a more talented team top to bottom.
Well, let me not say that. I think of all other aspects in terms of football and a football team, the Patriots, the only thing that the Rams have that's better than the Patriots is defense.
Yeah.
Defensive line to be exact.
And they always say, yeah, of course. So, yeah, Aaron Donald.
Rams have probably the best defensive line in football.
Absolutely. Definitely do.
They have a very good secondary. They got two corners that are very good in Peters and Aqib Talib.
Yeah.
And probably the two biggest gangster DBs in the goddamn NFL. But those guys can ball.
They can ball.
They can ball. And defensive
They're
line, they
hungry
literally have
DBs.
the best defensive player in football right now.
He was defensive player of the year last year, and he is
Defensive player of the year this year.
He was defensive player of the year.
He's literally the best defensive player in football right now.
He is the best defensive player.
Sorry,
in football.
J.J. Watt.
No, not even close. It's 2 years running.
Yes.
Aaron Donald.
Sorry, J.J. Watt.
Defensive
Aaron
player of the
Donald
year 2 years in a row. It's
is
absolutely the
a
best
beast.
player on defense.
He's a beast.
And that's the thing. So you got Jared Goff, who's a very good, capable quarterback. You have one of the best running backs, Todd Gurley. They have a pretty solid offensive line, but but again, then you look at it and it's like, okay, you have a young quarterback. If you want to compare like Tom Brady and Belichick, well, they're going like the two biggest vets, the most successful quarterback and coach duo in the history of football, hands down. It's not even up for argument. Look at the fucking stats.
Yeah.
Against Jared Goff, who is in his third season, right?
Yeah.
Third season, and then Sean McVay, who is the youngest. Is he still the youngest head coach in the league?
No, I think that title goes to the Cardinals head coach now.
Oh, now, yeah.
Kingsbury.
Yeah, but it wasn't this last season.
Kingsbury. I don't know how to fucking say his
Yeah,
name.
so currently the youngest coach in the league and a third-year starter. I feel like that just makes a difference right there. They've never been to the show.
No.
Whereas Belichick and Brady have won it five times together. Not to mention
been
in
there
there 11 times. So you got to give it to there could be some drama.
Also,
there's a chance that Rams could win. They have better offense, better defense, but
yes,
they've lost less games this season. But you can never count the Patriots out.
But I think the key to beating the Pats is to make Tom Brady uncomfortable in the pocket.
Yep.
If you give Tom Brady all day, or at least you give him chances to make plays.
Yeah, 'cause he can't scramble. He's not a mobile quarterback.
No,
his longest scramble.
He may give you
is 12 yards in his career.
a game. But again, the guy has grit. The guy has fucking moxie. He could get it done if he needs to get it done, but he doesn't have to. He doesn't want to. He doesn't have to most of the time. But again, if you can stay in his face, put hits. Most of the times that you see Tom Brady have trouble in games or lose is when you're constantly putting bodies on Tom Brady. I think that's the only key that you have to beat the Pats is you have to put bodies on the fucking GOAT.
And Rams have that capability.
They have the capability.
But the best D-line in the
question
league.
is, the Patriots offensive line hasn't given up a sack so far in the playoffs. So
Damn, I didn't know that stat. That's
haven't given
stat.
up a sack since the playoffs started.
And
so you're talking about
a
mediocre offensive line in terms of talent. In terms of talent, they're mediocre.
But they show up when it matters.
Because, again, that offensive line coach, Dante Scarnecchia, woo! That guy is the GOAT of offensive line coaches. Playing for him, knowing how he coaches those guys, knowing how they practice. Dante Scarnecchia, listen, the times the Patriots have not gone to the Super Bowl is when Dante Scarnecchia decided to retire and he wasn't their offensive line coach, is when you've seen Tom Brady have trouble.
You heard it here first. O-line matters. Hashtag O-line matters.
O-line matters, all right? Any good championship team has a great O-line or a great O-lineman. The Bone Crusher, baby. Yes. Great top 10, baby. You heard it here. Self-suck. I'm taking that one.
Oh, my God. I feel like we should just sign off on that. That was the most massive self-suck. I feel like that's got to be a double fine self-suck.
No, let me know those like because
God damn.
My guys in the O-line room, they all know I love all of them. They were savages. Shit. In my opinion, we had the best center and the best guard in the league in Shane Bergman and Cambry Williams. So, no slight against my man Randy or Erdos. Those guys were savages as well. But in terms of consistently playing a number of games and over the season, I think our offensive line were fucking beastie. I think we were better than Winnipeg's offensive line, who everybody likes to fucking hype up Winnipeg's offensive line because of the goddamn Canadian Mafia. Yes, I said it. The goddamn Canadian Mafia, which everybody knows is the Winnipeg Blue Bombers front office and coaching staff, all right?
Damn.
Yeah.
Call it like you see it. I'll be straight up, too. I had somebody very close to me when I was going to the CFL saying, if you're picked up by Winnipeg, no.
No.
Just no.
There's a reason why people call them the Canadian Mafia.
I guess it used to be like in Canada it was Canada wide or CFL wide. That's how the attitude used to be, and now every other team's gotten away from it, and that's how Winnipeg still works. They're the only team that does that.
Sorry, Diggy. I know you didn't want people to know your nickname for the Winnipeg. You said it on TV. People were trying to figure it out. I clarified it. My bad. You know I still love you. We still love Canada. We love all the people in Canada. But let's call a spade a spade. All right? So, again.
With that,
we're going to close out. Tyler, definitive. Who's your Super Bowl pick to win the big game next weekend?
I like to play it safe. I'm a safe gambler. I'm going to pick the Patriots.
Okay.
Just because, time and time again, they have the experience. Won it 5 times in the past, 10 years or whatever. I don't even know, dude. They're going to win.
Yeah, I think unless the Rams defense comes to play the game of their lives, literally.
Yeah.
Patriots are probably going to.
Which is possible.
I'm not saying the Atlanta Falcons have Tom Brady down by how many points going into the fourth quarter?
20.
Close to 2 scores?
Yeah.
It was at least 2 scores. And the man pulled one of the greatest Super Bowl comebacks ever and win that.
It was the greatest Super Bowl comeback.
The greatest Super Bowl comeback ever. Again,
you can
Patriots defense is not the greatest defense in the league, but
Patriots skill players aren't the best. And
they know how to make plays.
The Rams are more talented. It's just
offensive coaches put them in position to make plays.
But
Defensive coaches put them in a position to make plays,
but
baby.
The Super Bowl is the Super Bowl for the Rams. It's another game for the Patriots.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's kind of how I feel like is the rundown, which is why I feel like the Patriots are going to win.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. So, unless the Rams pull something miraculous, we're going to be looking at Tom Brady's 6 Super Bowl rings. So get used to the videos of him throwing up 6 fingers, all right?
Which it's fun to witness
Michael
greatness.
Jordan.
It is fun to witness
He's literally the
greatness.
Michael Jordan of football.
He is. Honestly, like, that's what I was going to say earlier about the Patriots, too, is that they really do, like, you know, they only won, like, what is it, nine games or something like that regular season? They won a little bit more.
I think they won 10 or 11 this year.
Yeah, but, like, not near as good of a record as, like, 4 other teams.
Games,
yeah. They had, like, the 5th or 6th
they were
best record going into the...
second in the AFC.
Yeah, but, yeah.
They beat the number 1 team in the AFC last week.
Yeah, there was definitely stronger
I called
conferences.
it, though. I honestly said...
There were stronger conferences in the league this year than the...
Yeah, but I honestly said, though, whoever won that Chiefs-Patriots game, that's going to be a Super Bowl winner.
I agree. So that's why it's going to be the Patriots.
It's going to be the Pats.
But hey, everybody, thank you so much for listening again to Insights from the Locker Room. Shout out my boy Derek. Hey, real quick, shout out to 3 Down Nation for featuring us.
Oh, yes. Appreciate
big
Drew.
shout out to 3 Down
Drew
Nation.
Edwards reached out to me and said that he thought the idea, the concept of the podcast was pretty great. So he'd love to let us use their platform to get our word out there and to help spread the word. Mm-hmm. And he gave a very glowing review of us after the first podcast. So I hope he likes the second one.
Absolutely, yeah. So thank you again. Make sure to follow us on SoundCloud. We're going to get this podcast up on iTunes here this weekend.
Yes. We just made a Facebook and an Instagram as well.
Yep.
Clearly the name of the podcast, Insights from the Locker Room. Follow us on all social media. We will be posting as much content as we can. We're also making a YouTube channel, so be on the lookout for video content as well outside of the audio. We're going to try to give you guys as much as we possibly can, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. It being episode number 2, we're very excited about what's to come for us in this podcast and the type of viewership that we are receiving in the U.S. as well as in Canada.
Thank you.
I hope you guys like it. We thank you guys. We love you guys, and if there's anything you want us to add or subtract or talk about more,
ask us questions because we respond.
Reach out
to
us.
We will respond.
We will respond.
We will respond. And as we said last time, anyone can get it.
Anyone can get it.
Anyone can get it.
Yes. And don't think you guys are safe.
Not safe at all.
Pretty soon we're gonna start chopper styling y'all asses up too, baby. Who that ass? Yeah. Hey, Gord.
All right. Well, that's it from Insights from the Locker Room. Thank you again, everybody. Take her easy.
Take care.